So we have this reporter that goes by the name of Sabrina that dropped the behind-the-scenes information about Caitlin Clark at this USA basketball training camp.
This is one of those moments that only makes sense if you slow down and watch how elite basketball actually works behind closed doors. Not the highlights, not the press conferences, the decisions that are shaped in silence, the ones that don't get explained publicly because everyone inside the room already understands what happened. If you care about how those decisions get made, this is where you lean in. Because once moments like this pass, the narrative gets cleaned up, the edges get softened, the truth becomes harder to see.
And the way that she's talking, Caitlin Clark made this team, fam. She made this.
Team USA camp was supposed to be predictable, calm, controlled, professional. These camps usually follow a familiar rhythm. Veterans arrive knowing where they stand. Roles are tested but rarely overturned.
Literally. This is crazy. I'm under contract. I guess I plan on returning to the sky and continuing to talk to Tyler.
Hierarchies are understood long before the first whistle blows. By the final day, the decisions often feel ceremonial, almost procedural. Nothing dramatic, nothing disruptive. That was the expectation walking in. That wasn't what happened here. Instead, the week turned into one of the most uncomfortable stretches anyone inside that gym had experienced in years.
Reese wants nothing to do with this damn Chicago Sky team. She makes it very, very clear.
Not because of conflict, not because of arguments, but because the system itself started responding to something it hadn't planned for. One unexpected variable stepped into an environment built around assumptions, and those assumptions didn't survive contact with reality.
At every opportunity, she makes it very clear at every opportunity, she does not want to be on this team. She thinks these players stink.
Caitlin Clark arrived quietly. No press moment, no entourage, no need to remind anyone who she was or what she'd done elsewhere. She didn't announce her presence with words or gestures. She didn't try to establish status. But within minutes, the energy inside the gym shifted in a way that couldn't be ignored.
She thinks they stink. She thinks she don't think they have a winning culture over there. She don't want to be there at all.
Not because she demanded it, but because every drill began to bend toward her gravity.
Stated Erica Hamby had a situation where she got the ball, and I think that's when she got blocked. I think that's what she's talking about. But she got the ball, brought it down, right? Caitlin Clark is going to put it right where you need it.
Conversations paused when she touched the ball. Coaches leaned forward without realizing they were doing it. Players adjusted their spacing instinctively, reading angles differently, cutting sooner, preparing for passes that hadn't been thrown yet. This wasn't attention-seeking. It wasn't hype. It was inevitability. There's a difference between a player being talented and a player changing how the game breathes.
That's another level of skill, another level of thinking, another level of I'm thinking 10 steps ahead, right? It's not only getting the ball to the player, it's getting the ball where the player needs it.
When certain players run an offense, the game slows down to accommodate them. When Caitlin ran it, the game sharpened. Decisions came earlier. Windows opened faster. Mistakes got exposed immediately. The margin for error didn't shrink because of pressure. It shrank because of clarity.
That's why we say, man, Caitlin Clark is the top guard.
The first person to feel it wasn't a coach. It wasn't someone on the staff watching from the sideline with a clipboard. It was Paige Buchers. She noticed the pace change almost immediately. The floor opened in ways it hadn't before. Reads came earlier. Cuts felt cleaner and more purposeful. The ball didn't just move faster, it moved with intent.
I'm just saying, Chelsea Gray is a very entertaining passer. All right, very entertaining. Sometimes her flashiness kind of make her throw the ball away and things of that nature. But Caitlin Clark knows how to get that thing in tough spots.
When Caitlin initiated sets, everyone else played a half second ahead of schedule. That's not something you draw up. That's not something you explain in film. That's something players feel in their bodies. And when players feel it, they don't need to be convinced. They buy in without discussion.
And get her teammates open, get it to where the teammate can catch the ball and just pull it in a comfortable style. All that is a part of facilitating, man. All right.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese felt something else entirely, and it caught her off guard because it didn't arrive loudly. It wasn't anger, it wasn't jealousy, it wasn't even frustration at first. It was something quieter and far more unsettling. irrelevance. The invisible wall every elite athlete fears but rarely admits exists. The moment when effort is still there, preparation is still there, but the game begins to move without you. Angel was still doing everything she was supposed to do. She ran the same drills, played the same minutes, took the same physical toll on her body. She competed on every possession, but something fundamental had shifted. The rhythm wasn't returning to her hands. The ball didn't come back on the second action. The reads no longer favored her positioning. The spacing felt tighter around her while it opened everywhere else. Momentum didn't slow down or stop. It flowed straight past her, indifferent to how hard she worked to redirect it. Every huddle reinforced the same quiet truth. Every breakdown, every side conversation between coaches and assistants. Caitlin Clark had become the center of gravity, not by demanding attention, not by personality or presence, but by impact. Plays naturally bent toward her. Adjustments were framed around her decisions. Coaches didn't announce it, didn't label it, didn't explain it. They didn't need to. The game itself was already making the argument. Then came the scrimmage, and this is where reputations are tested without protection. No cameras, no fans, no outside noise to cushion the moment. Just pride and execution. These are the sessions where systems reveal their preferences. Caitlin ran point. Paige spaced the floor. The ball moved with purpose like it was on rails, snapping from option to option without hesitation. Actions flowed seamlessly into counters. Reads were made early. Help defense arrived a half step late because the decision had already been processed before rotations could even begin. Angel tried to impose herself. More physicality, extra contact on screens, louder communication. She wasn't wrong to do it. That's what competitors do when they feel the game slipping. They push back. They fight the current. But the system didn't bend. It didn't slow down. It didn't pause to accommodate force. Possession by possession, the tempo accelerated, and Angel began to fade, not because she was benched or pulled aside, but because the pace itself erased her influence. That was the moment everything changed. This wasn't competition anymore in the traditional sense. It was hierarchy forming in real time. Caitlin wasn't proving she belonged. That question had already been answered. She was proving something more uncomfortable, that the system functioned better through her. Assistants whispered, clipboards filled with notes, rotations adjusted subtly, almost unconsciously, without needing instruction. And Angel saw it happening. She felt the margin shrink and disappear in real time. Panic doesn't always announce itself dramatically. Sometimes it arrives quietly, disguised as urgency. It shows up in rushed shots that don't need to be taken, in late rotations that arrive just a fraction too slow, in frustration that can't find a clean release. Angel's body language shifted, not explosively, not outwardly emotional, just heavier. The effort was still there, but the game had already chosen a direction. And at this level, basketball doesn't negotiate. That's the hardest part to accept. This wasn't personal. No one was being punished. No one was being singled out. It was basketball making a decision based on reads, efficiency, and trust. And basketball chose Caitlin Clark. By the final day of camp, the gym felt different. Too quiet. The kind of silence that only comes after clarity settles in. The drills were sharp. Execution was ruthless. No wasted movement. No emotional noise. Caitlin controlled the floor like a veteran who had been there for a decade, calling actions, directing traffic, finishing plays without celebration or reaction. Veterans followed her lead instinctively. That's how you know something is locked in. Angel barely touched the ball, not by punishment, by reality. When systems settle, they prioritize flow over force. They reward anticipation over effort alone. And when the final whistle blew, there was no suspense left to resolve. The decision had already been made, quietly, possession by possession, long before anyone said a word. Angel didn't wait for meetings. She didn't wait for explanations or private conversations behind closed doors. She didn't need the formalities. The message had already been delivered, not in words, but in possessions, spacing, and who the game kept returning to when it mattered. She stepped away quietly. No storming out, no raised voice, no confrontation, just a decision made internally and acted on immediately. The kind of exit that doesn't demand attention, but still pulls all of it toward itself. The gym froze when it happened, not because anyone was shocked, but because everyone understood exactly what it meant. Coaches exchanged brief looks without speaking. Assistants stopped writing. Players avoided eye contact, not out of disrespect, but out of recognition. They knew this wasn't about emotions boiling over or a bad day at camp. This was about alignment. This was about realizing the system was moving in a direction that no longer revolved around force or reputation, but around flow and control. This wasn't just one player leaving a session early. It was the structure itself being exposed. And almost immediately, the ripple effect began outside the gym. The same league that once questioned Caitlin Clark's readiness, delayed her opportunities, and quietly wondered whether her game would translate at this level was now scrambling to catch up. Highlights were clipped faster. Social feeds shifted tone. Narratives softened, then flipped. Praise replaced skepticism almost overnight. Dominance does that. It forces revision. It makes people rewrite what they were comfortable saying just days earlier. And if you've been following this story closely, you know this part isn't about revenge or validation. It's about inevitability catching up to hesitation. Caitlin never said a word through any of it. No quotes, no statements, no subtle jabs. She didn't need to control the narrative because the game was already doing it for her. Every read, every pass, every calm possession spoke louder than any press conference ever could. You can doubt her, you can delay her, you can try to fit her into timelines that feel safer, but once she's inside the system, once the ball starts moving through her, you lose control of the outcome. The game adjusts whether you're ready or not. As camp came to an end, the mood wasn't celebratory, it was reflective. Coaches looked recalibrated, already thinking ahead. Players looked quieter, processing what they just witnessed and what it meant for their own roles moving forward. And Caitlin walked out the same way she walked in. Quiet, focused, unbothered, no change in expression, no sense of arrival. While everything around her subtly burned down and reorganized itself, she stayed exactly the same. This wasn't drama manufactured for attention. It wasn't conflict for headlines. This was basketball doing what it always does at the highest level, revealing the truth when the margin disappears, when the lights come on, when the pressure tightens, when decisions can no longer be postponed. Caitlin Clark doesn't ask for the moment. The moment finds her. And this time, it didn't just define a camp. It shifted the balance of everything that comes next. If you want to see where this leads and how these decisions ripple outward beyond that gym, make sure you're here for what comes next. Because this story doesn't end at camp, top of form, bottom of form,